Hi, Esther, and welcome to Entrepreneurcast. It's such a great pleasure to have you with us today.
Hello, Svietlana. It's great to see you too. It's always a pleasure because you always give me so much energy.
So, Esther, before we start with the business side of things, tell us a little bit about who are you outside of your business and what do you enjoy doing in your spare time?
Well, the truth to that is I'm very busy. I've got two kids, age 11 and 7, and so I'm a busy working mum. So juggling work and children and family and a husband living in Spitalfields in London is quite busy and it's quite challenging, but I love it and I wouldn't have it any other way.
What about your business? Tell us about what do you do and what inspired you to start it?
Well, I used to work at the BBC. I was a producer for many years. I've been in the broadcasting industry for more than 20 years and now I run my own business for 6. So I've got 26 years and my expertise is helping people to speak with confidence and to feel confident when they're communicating their message in front of any audience. So my expertise is to help people be really good, really quickly. And I used to do that in the live studio at the BBC. I've produced shows with Boris Johnson and Theresa May, the Prime Minister. And at the beginning of my career, I had the pleasure of interviewing Hollywood stars and noticing what makes people charismatic, if you like. So I've interviewed Madonna and George Clooney and Lenny Kravitz and Danny DeVito. The list goes on. But the moment when I decided to make my expertise of helping people to have more impact in their life and in business was the moment when an agent came into the studio one day and he said, "Can you give this man a personality?" And he was on this book tour with this author and they needed to go and do publicity interviews on air, on TV and radio. And this guy just spoke really badly. He was really boring, the author. And he just didn't have any spark or charisma. And when the agent said to me, "Can you give this man a personality?" I took a few seconds and I thought, actually, yes, I can give him a personality. And that was the moment I thought, what is it that I do? What is it? What's the formula that will give this man a personality? Because I do have the formula. Because day after day, people come in, they say, "Wow, thank you. I was so good. What did you do for me?" And I didn't exactly work out that there was a science behind giving you more confidence, giving you more gravitas, giving you more impact. Anyway, that was the day I kind of thought, I have a formula. And then, this formula would work for loads of people. And then there's some friends of mine that worked in business and a big law firm, and a guy that works at Deloitte, a very good friend of mine that worked at Deloitte, a professional services firm. It wasn't until I spoke to them and they said, "You should be doing that in business." And that is, all the rest is history.
Amazing. So you had that turning point in your life, which you were like, "Oh my God, this is what I got to do," because you just more or less were told that you're good at that and you also enjoy it, right?
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't ever take a step back and think, what is it that I do? What's working for me? What is my expertise? Now, if I can help people feel good, feel confident when they pitch, have a good voice, have a really good message, feel as if they can walk into that room and own it. If that's what I help people do, what is that? And how does that translate into a business? And how do I articulate that? And so I'm now the Impact Guru. So my business now is called the Impact Guru. I've just launched recently my new website. But I give people personal impact. And it's taken me quite a long time to just realize that that is a business and that's what I do. And that's me in my groove, helping other people to be confident.
So Esther, you have a family, you have a business, you're quite busy with both. So how does your usual day look like?
Well, I've got help as well. That's the other tip that I could give people, help from a business coach. And what she's helped me do is realize that I do have to section my days up, my week up into days and units. So if I'm traveling, darling, flying off somewhere, my day would start very early at probably 4 o'clock in the morning with a car picking me up to take me to the airport. But I probably travel every couple of months. So I've got Barcelona coming up. I recently went to Berlin. Last year I went to Tel Aviv. And I probably will be going to the States later on in the summer. So if I'm traveling, I have to be unbelievably organized. If I'm not traveling, a usual week I will do marketing on a Monday, and I'll try and get a lot of writing done on a Monday, but I'm always up early. I remember one entrepreneur telling me that she gets up at 6:30 and writes a list of 3 top things that she does every morning. I'm not quite that disciplined, but I do tend to get up around 7 or before. On a Tuesday, I will try and get up even earlier to go to the gym, because it's really important to try and keep fit, which is very difficult when you're busy juggling kids and a business. But the main thing is to get a strategy in the morning of what you're going to do that day. That has really helped me. So a typical day will be in the morning just thinking, what am I doing today? What do I need to do? Realistically, what am I going to achieve? And then I like to write in the morning if I'm doing blogs, marketing materials, proposals, emails. I like to do them in the morning. If I'm coaching with a firm, say if I'm working with a global bank, I might have a masterclass. I tend to try and do my masterclasses in half days now rather than full days. Some clients like to have a full day, in which case I'll always arrive early, so I'd have to leave the house probably when the kids go to school. Sometimes I take them to school, but everything starts pretty early, and then if I do a half day, I'll probably finish in lunchtime, come back and then make my videos, follow up, make sure I give people good feedback. But it's a real challenge finding the time in between the jobs to think, to plan, to give people really meaningful feedback. So as you can hear, each day is slightly different, and they're always a challenge.
So, talking of challenges, with entrepreneurs and business owners, we always come across a lot of challenges. So what would you say was your greatest challenge during your, business journey? And how did you manage to overcome it?
To be honest with you, I think one of my big challenges has been belief, self-belief, believing that you're really good at what you do, believing that you are going to make it work, and believing that you are worth the fees that you're commanding. And I have many days where I start questioning, am I good enough? Am I good enough? And actually, I know I'm good at what I do. And I'm not afraid to say that anymore. I'm not embarrassed to say I am good at helping you speak well with confidence. I'm good at getting a performance out of people. However, that's only a tiny part of running a business. You have to be really good at thinking about the big picture of a business, having a strategy, and you have to have inner confidence to keep your business going and to grow. And to be honest with you, without my fantastic business coach, her name's Kim Duke, she's Canadian, without her on my shoulder, and once a week I send her my plans and my figures, without her, I think I would have found it even more challenging to believe that I'm good enough. I can do this. I can grow my business. I can upscale. I can write. I'm going to be writing a book soon. I can expand. I can elevate myself. I think it's really, really difficult. And I don't think that when you start out, when you set your business up, you don't realize the resilience that you need, the inner strength and the courage that you need. And you do get days where you think, I'm not brave enough. And it's about having a regular conversation with somebody who champions you, and speaking to people that champion you, speaking to people that have experience, that are fans of yours, that can help you and recognize your strengths. That's helped me. And I think that can help anybody. If you want to run a business, it's having the right people around you and encouraging you, telling you, not lying to you, oh, you're great and you're fine when things are going wrong. You want them to be a good listening post, a good sounding board, but you need people that are going to boost you up around you, because it's challenging on your own running a business. When you get those down days, it's difficult to get yourself up.
This is such a great point, because I think a lot of us have the same thing, but most people don't talk about that inner chatter that goes on there. I've had it for a long, long time, and it doesn't help when, for example, your family doesn't support you, doesn't believe in you, because you have the chatter inside your head already. And then if you don't have that support from somewhere, then it's really difficult to get your business off the ground, literally, because you don't believe you can do it, you don't believe you're good enough, or you don't believe that you can provide that value. So I totally agree with that. And thank you for sharing it, because I strongly believe that every person should surround themselves with like-minded people who will tell them, yes, you can, this is how you can do it, this is how you can do that, there is potential in it. Because without that, I think a lot of people literally fail just because of that inner chatter, and because of lacking people around them who will support them and help them get there. But on the bright side of things, Esther, what would you say was your greatest success during your entrepreneurial journey?
Wow. I've had quite a few successes. I think there's been a couple recently, and it happens quite regularly, but recently I had an email from one of my clients. She works for Old Mutual Wealth in a bank, an investment bank. And I did an away day there last year. I've worked with them quite regularly. And we did confidence building, finding your message, speaking out, finding your voice, understanding your authenticity, all what I think is my everyday work. And I talk about inner strength. I talk about being authentic, having your own voice, finding your groove, feeling more confident, taking that step out of your comfort zone. And so she's heard all the same messages, and she's been to several sessions, and I've spoken at women's networking events, and I've also done a team away day. But she sent me this email the other day, and it literally said, I should send you the email. Since I've met you, Esther, my life has changed. Thank you so much. I'm so much more confident. I've lost 3 stone in weight. I'm wearing different clothes. I walk into the office and people think I'm the boss because of my status, because of my power posing, because of my presence. Because all I've done is I've given her permission to be herself and walk in, shoulders back, head held high, not being apologetic and humble about herself. And she poured out with this email, thank you, I've lost weight, I'm so confident, I'm wearing pink lipstick today. And I have male clients too, but female clients are more likely to have that transformation where it's much more obvious on the outside because of things like clothes, makeup, losing weight. We care about that. We care about what we look like. Men care about what they look like too. But when I get emails like that, that's my success. If I've helped people change their life, transform their life, that's a huge success to me, because that's not just about me running a business and hitting my targets. That's a huge success. But changing people's lives, and so they're almost in tears with how happy they feel and how confident they feel. And I want to do more of that.
Mm. So Esther, through our business journey and the life journey, really, we do come across a lot of people who inspire us, sort of like personal heroes. Do you have any personal heroes and people that inspire you, and who are they?
I get inspired every day. I love obvious people, big personalities that you see on TV and I've been brought up with every day. People like Oprah Winfrey. I love Oprah Winfrey, for example, because she's just out there and she can do everything. She's got so many talents and she's so generous and honest. And somebody like her, I've always loved Oprah Winfrey. But when I was a child, I was actually very good friends with a politician's daughter, Rachel Kinnock. And so I got to see Neil Kinnock. He was the leader of the Labour Party in the 1980s. So when I was only 10 years old, I got to see a political leader in action, making speeches, and he was out on the celebrity circuit as well, and I got to see celebrities and meet them firsthand when I was very young. And one of the celebrities that I was in her pop video was Tracy Ullman. And Tracy Ullman has a show on TV now. But after all those years ago, I looked at her when I was 10 years old, and she was funny, she's a comedian, she's witty, she's good looking, she's a singer, she's a dancer. She was everything that I wanted to be. And in fact, I watched the rerun of the recent Tracy Ullman show on Sky the other day, and I thought, she's so brilliant. And she did inspire me. Age 10, she was probably one of the main reasons that I wanted to get into producing and into the media. I never really necessarily wanted to be talent, be the other side of the camera. I was always interested in creating the stories and helping the talent. But now, because of social media and because of the way things are, and also online programs and speaking on stage, speaking to bigger audiences, I've kind of become the talent myself. And sometimes I think about Tracy Ullman thinking, well, she's an all-rounder. She's a writer. She's a producer. She's the talent. And sometimes I think, again, it's the self-belief. Just do it. You're helping people. Just get out there and do it.
So Esther, just for fun, I always like to find out, where do you come up with your best ideas?
Well, do you know what? I've only recently in the last year, I've been going to the gym a little bit more regularly. And I've also got a Fitbit, okay? And it's a cliche, but when you are walking in the park on a Saturday morning, I drop my daughter off at her singing class near Hyde Park, and I have an hour to just walk around Hyde Park, and I see people on horses, and like there's trees and grass, because I live in a very built-up area in central London in Spitalfields. But if I'm walking in the park doing my power walking to get my Fitbit steps up, by the way, how many have I done? 3,000. That's rubbish today. But I try and do 15,000 steps a day. When I'm walking, doing my power walking, or if I'm at the gym doing my rowing machine, some kind of repetitive physical activity, it's a real cliche, I tend to be very, very productive in my brain, because I don't try and do my work in my brain. I try and switch off and do my exercises. But it's a really good time to kind of take a little step back, and then suddenly, bing, you suddenly think, what? Why are you going that direction? You idiot. It's time to change. Or I suddenly come up with, oh, it's obvious. It's so obvious that about my online program or my different audiences. It's so obvious that my banking clients will need this kind of presentation. And then I start crafting an entire keynote speech for a global bank in my head. It's brilliant. I get days where I don't do that too, but it's great when I really start. And then I'm on the rowing machine, like, oh yeah, that'd be really good. That'd be really good. I'm walking around the park, just talking to myself. So I definitely recommend getting out of your usual environment is really important. And it's something that I think it's difficult to find the time to do that.
Coming up with ideas during a workout is something we have in common, because that's my typical time. Like if I work out and then something pops to my head and I'm like, okay, I have to write it down. So I stop everything, I write it down, then I go back to my workout.
Well, I've got this routine. I've got this big phone with big writing. And if I have a blog idea, because blogs are so great because that you can use them for speeches. It's just good to gather your content. So, for example, the other day, a friend of mine was talking about this terrible speech that his client gave at this big legal conference. And it was such a brilliant idea. I had to write it in my phone. I put blog idea. You know, these career suicide moment speeches, what you shouldn't do. and if I didn't write that down, I wouldn't have remembered. And I've got loads of great examples and quotes that will go with that blog. So that's a really good thing. I love the notes that you can get in your phone. You just quickly write a note, blog idea, and even if it's 2 or 3 sentences, you're capturing your thoughts. Because my brain does pop quite a lot. And it's a waste if you don't gather those pops.
So Esther, like you said, you write down those ideas on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any like specific resources you could recommend? Like, what do you use to capture your ideas, or is there any specific like app that you use or anything else? And generally, during your business journey, did you come across any resources that helped you run your business better, or helped you with being organized or anything else? So any resources that you could basically recommend to us?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, just basically having a little note system. I just use my notes in my phone, which is not, when I was at the BBC, we had all these different kind of journalistic running orders that you could write your stories in and share them for the whole BBC for 26,000 people. You can share in this folder. It's not that sophisticated. However, some of the resources that I do use, so for my newsletter, I use Mad Mimi, which is basically like MailChimp. It's just called Mad Mimi. It's American. It's really, really brilliant because you can put your contacts in there and you can build your list. I do actually have a fantastic EA, an executive assistant, virtual assistant called Claire. She is brilliant. I don't want anybody else to take her away from me. So I don't, but she's called Miss Virtual EA. Now she is unbelievably organized, because I am organized, but in terms of paperwork and detail and things like tracking invoices and things, I found that a real challenge, and she's really helped me with my diary because I organized this Skype session. So it's like, Svietlana, what happened? I got the day wrong because I organized it. That's exactly why I need help. But just using Outlook, I do use Outlook in terms of you can send people invitations for meetings. I know you use Meetup and various different apps for that. I do use Xero for my accounting, Xero, Xero accounting system, and that automatically tracks your bank account and tells your clients when they haven't paid their invoice, and Claire's really helps me with that too. The other thing is Receipt Bank, and a fantastic guy, you may have heard of him, Lee Warren at the PSA, the Professional Speaking Association. He's an excellent speaker. Lee Warren introduced me to Receipt Bank. Okay, if you need to take a photograph of your receipts and have a log of your receipts, you can throw away the paper receipt.
Wow.
Now, that I like. It's very efficient. What else? I use Dropbox. There's loads of ways to transfer, because I do lots of videos. So Dropbox, I find if I want to share content, so with big files like PowerPoint presentation slides, videos, Dropbox is really, really helpful, or photographs, high-res photos. And my web people use WeTransfer, which is really good. And I also now started using Vimeo as well as YouTube. Vimeo just to store the videos, and you can also sell videos on Vimeo as well. But I'm always looking out for new ways of doing stuff and new platforms. And at the moment I'm in the process of setting up a whole new platform for online learning and modules, and I'll let you know how that goes in 6 months.
Brilliant, thank you.
Does that help? Do they all sound familiar?
No, that's
they
great.
sound familiar to you though?
Yeah,
those apps.
Yeah. No, it's great. Thank you. Everybody has different ways of doing things, and I think it's really helpful to people when they, especially to some people who start out or who have been in business but been really struggling with bits and pieces. It's really helpful to kind of find out what somebody else uses, because then they think, oh, let me check it out, maybe it's going to help them, So Esther, you've done quite a lot. You've been on BBC, you've been interviewing people, you have your own business, and you go in places, you have a lot of knowledge and experience. What would be your top 3 tips and strategies for the listener today in business entrepreneurship?
Well, I would say really classic stuff. But the first tip has got to be, you've got to know what you want and why. You need to know what your goal is. It's very cliched here, but it's so true. If you don't have a goal, if you don't know where you're going, you are a rudderless ship. The ship will wander around the sea and drift and drift. And I was there at the beginning. I actually remember saying, I'm going to see how it goes. I'm just going to have a go, do a bit of freelancing, see if people like it, dip my toe in the water. It's all very humble. It's all very passive. And it wasn't really until, I realized that it was working. I can do this stuff. This does work. I am helping people. It's not about, really? You want me to help you? Ooh. When you realize that you are good at this stuff, you can do this stuff, whether it's a product, whether you're making stuff, you're good, okay? People like it, okay? Where do you want to be? And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to say, that's my destination. And then you have to work back. How do I get to my destination? My second big tip, keeping the destination in mind, is you can't get to that destination in a week. You maybe can't get there in a year, maybe 2, maybe 3 years. But what you can do, this is a great tip, one thing that will grow your business or do something for your business every day, one thing a day. It could be one email. It could be one question to somebody. Do you know somebody that might want my services? It could be a newsletter. It could be learning how to open the app for the newsletter. One thing a day. It could be writing a blog, half a blog, thinking about a blog. It doesn't matter, but 0 means that 365 days, you've got 0. If you do a tiny little thing, by the end of the year, you've done 365 things towards your business. And that is a great tip. And my third tip is, what gives you joy? Have fun. What do you love? What gives you a buzz? What makes you go, oh, that was so great. That was so great. And when you feel like that, you're absolutely on your right path. So it's kind of big picture stuff. Having a goal, knowing where you're going. Do something, no matter how small, to get towards it every single day. 3, have a bit of fun. Come on, you only live once. And if you enjoy it, you're going to be good at it. There you go. I sound like a motivational speaker. I'm like Anthony Robbins, I'm channeling my inner American at this point, okay? I have spoken to many audiences, and one of my tips is channel your inner American. But now Donald Trump is president, it has a slightly different meaning. But just go for it.
Thank you for that.
Are they helpful, those tips?
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. Good. Esther, I do come across people very often who say that at some point of life, they came across a book that changed their life. Did you have such a book, and what was it?
Okay, hang on a sec. Hang on. Oh, look, because you've caught me in my office, okay? It's this. Can you see it? Is it gone the wrong way round? Is it the wrong way round? Anyway, it's Professor Steve Peters, the mind management book called the Chimp Paradox. And actually, one of my clients recommended it to me, this guy from Santander, and he's in the legal department. And he said, have you read the Chimp Paradox, all about your inner chimp? This is about the mind chatter and the inner voices. And I've got to say, I'm 45 now, and I don't mind about saying my age. I think I read this probably 3 years ago. And I say after the age of 40, I just had more confidence. I think after 40, when I left the BBC, started up my business, it was really true. Life begins at 40. But when I read this book, maybe it was just timing, or maybe it was me. But this book is about your inner chimp and about the mind chatter and about negative thoughts and about what you think you're not good at and what your whole life, what the story has been in your head about you and what you're capable of. And what the book does is it just says, maybe it's not true. Maybe you are really good. Maybe there is always a path. Maybe you're brilliant. And maybe you should just get over it and do it. Whatever's holding you back, just get it out of the way. And just stop believing in those kind of negative thoughts that are holding you back. And it sounds cliche, but it's absolutely true. But, I have given that book to a few people. I gave it to my brother and he was like, nah, because it might have been a bit touchy-feely for him. But I saw Professor Steve Peters at a lecture, at one of those School of Life lectures. And I asked a question, and he was so brilliant. He's so funny. He's very down to earth. And I really, really respected him because I've read the book. I really liked him. And the great thing he said to me when I met him at this lecture was, do you know what? If you don't like all of the book, because some of it's a bit kind of touchy-feely and you have to reflect at the end of the day, and sometimes you're not in the mood to reflect about yourself at the end of each day. And he said, look, just take the bits that are useful to you. Take the bits that are useful, leave the bits that aren't. And so I really recommend it, as it's a good read. He's the guy behind the success of the British cycling team, and he's because he specialises, it seems, with sports people because of their mindset. It's about having that mindset to win and being able to cut out all the negative stuff that's going to stop you focusing on winning. It's classic success psychological stuff, but I really like the way it's written. It's really down to earth, so enjoy it.
Thank you for sharing, Esther. So Esther, you obviously had quite a journey, and again, you achieved quite a bit, and it's been a fantastic journey. But what is next for you? What's your next big aim, dream, goal? And if there is a person today who is listening and could potentially help you get there, who would it be?
Oh, wow. Now, you see, I haven't had these questions beforehand. I like everyone to know that. So I haven't really had a chance to consider that down to one person. However, my next step is I want to spread my message. I want to spread my message, which is get your voice heard, whoever you are, wherever you're from. If you're from a diverse background, men, women, different communities, diverse communities, it's your responsibility to make sure that you are getting your voice heard. And I want to upscale my business. So I want to go online. I want to be shared for the rest of the world to get these tips, these simple tips about being able to communicate and not feel that you're not good enough, and not let imposter syndrome, that voice of doubt, hijack your chances of success. So, and I also would like to be a government advisor about getting people more confident. So right now, who would be able to help me? Let's think. I'd like somebody in the government. I'd like to be able to advise the government about confidence, getting people's voices heard, particularly women, particularly running programs in schools and colleges. And there are lots of programs running, but have we actually got a consistent strategy to help people articulate their messages and feel confident as young people? So who's in the government at the moment? Who would it be? Theresa May. Theresa May could help me. I'd like to meet her and her advisors in this country to get the ball rolling on that. That's all I can think of at the moment. There's quite a few other people that I can think of too, and particularly next year when I do want to publish a book. I've already started writing it, and so it's really big corporate businesses will be able to help me on that as well.
Esther, we are coming to the end of the show, but
great.
Before we say our goodbyes, is there anything else you would like to share with us, or advise on something, give any extra tips, whatever it is that you would like to share before we end?
In my experience, if you don't put yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit, you're never going to grow, and you're never going to go that extra mile. And for me, I met you, Svietlana, at the PSA, at the Professional Speaking Association. I never used to speak in front of big audiences, and I was embarrassed about myself. And even today, when you put the video on, I didn't realise we were going to be videoed, and I thought, oh no, we're going to be videoed. I worked in TV for many years, and I still get that, I'm not sure about being visible. So my main tip is get out there and be visible. Don't be afraid. Nobody really minds what you look like. Nobody really cares that much. Okay, you care way more than anyone else. And don't hold yourself back. don't be humble. And I work with a lot of people in banks, in law firms, in big businesses. I work with CEOs, CFOs, COOs, and in people in leadership roles, and they feel a little bit embarrassed. And it's holding them back as a leader. So everybody has inner demons. Even people on TV that you see, even Barack Obama has inner demons. Jeremy Clarkson has inner demons. People that look really confident have inner demons. We've all got our own stuff that holds us back. Just remember that you're all right. You're good at what you do. Enjoy it. And just get out there and push yourself just that little bit more.
Thank you so much, Esther. It's been a great time together. For anyone who would like to get in touch with you, what's the best way to reach out?
The best thing to do is go to the website, and you can go to theimpactguru.com, www.theimpactguru.com. Click on the option to get the free video tips, because then we will be connected. You'll get great tips about how to stand, how to use your voice, what to do with your hands, how to craft a message, and you'll enjoy them. And also we'll be connected. We'll have a regular, you can even email me from there. And I'd love to hear from you. I always like to hear from people's stories or questions, and I'd love to stay connected with you, and that's the best way to do it. So look forward to meeting more people. Look forward to seeing you there.
Definitely. Thank you so much for your time today, Esther. It's amazing. I really look forward to catching up sometime soon. And hopefully we'll manage to do that. You have a great day.
Okay. And my motto, eyes and teeth. Ding.